All right, let's see here. Waiting for, okay, here we go. Okay. All right, so I'm trying to accept, I don't know how to do this. Maybe it's me. Morgan, have you sent me a request? Oh, here we go. View request. Yeah. Is this gonna work? This is so odd. I'm accepting the request, but I don't know if anything is happening. It just keeps shutting down. No! Accept. Yeah, it's not accepting. Morgan, I can see you're on this. This is truly bizarre. I wonder why.
Oh, that's so awkward. That is. Man, I think I might have to log out actually on Women in Film, because that could be it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Okay.
So, hold on. Let's try one more time. I think I'll leave.
So
and
weird.
Then yeah, no, it's really weird.
I mean, Instagram.
Yeah, let me leave and then I'll log out or something.
Yeah, for sure. Sounds good. Hey everybody, this is called troubleshooting at its finest. Yep. Okay, cool. Yeah, Morgan, if you want, I can. Okay, view request. All right, let's try this. Said go live with you, so I just accepted it. So I wonder if it's gonna work.
I think it's working. Hello. All the troubleshooting together.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I mean, it's okay. I feel like I would get more frustrated by technology, but at this point in life and pandemic generally, I've just been like, c'est la vie, it's okay. It's all good.
I think it's good to know that everybody has the technical difficulties. And I think we saw that a lot with, even in the pandemic, we're all on the same wavelength of home technology.
Yep. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. It's very beautiful here. I'm not sure. Are you in Toronto now? How's the weather?
Yeah, right now I'm in like a subsect, like a pocket near Toronto, Mississauga. Shout out Mississauga. But yes, I am in Canada right now. Nice over here too, actually. The sun's out today, so can't complain. Where are you at again? Are you in?
No, I'm in the New York area, so I'm out of Jersey.
Oh my God, cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, so we're East Coast pals today.
Nice. Well, I'm happy to, be chatting and everything. I mean, I think it's always nice when I get to do, little chit-chat. So like I'm wearing sweatpants, so today, it's okay. No complaints.
I love it. The cozy vibes are everything. We love the cozy vibes. Amazing. So I hear a disconnect in the audio when we switch who's talking. I'm not sure if you hear that on your end, but okay. Any technical things that come up, we're here, we're having fun, and we're excited for everyone who's tuning in to come along for the conversation. So it's gonna be good. So yeah, Alex, I'm excited that we're here together. Do you like Alex or Alexandra better? Do you have a preference?
Great, yeah. Alexandra, I'm in trouble, yeah.
Well, it's great to meet you, Alex. And yeah, normally I just start these off with a little introduction. So I'm Morgan Taylor. I'm here with the Women in Film Project. I'm a documentary filmmaker, and I'm really excited to go around, and we've been talking to women filmmakers all over the country. We have viewers from all over the world, and just to see something like this take off, and the stories that are being told and that we're shining a spotlight on are very inspirational to anybody who's trying to either break into the industry or get to the next level, going after their dreams. So we're excited to continue sharing those stories, and we're glad that you're here being a part of it. So
yeah, definitely. Thank you for having me. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. If you want to give a quick introduction of yourself to everyone here who might not know who you are already.
So I'm Alex Petkovski. Hey You also works. And my bag is I do music composition, production, artistry. I've an artist project under name Fiora, Fjora, has kind of become, I think, I don't want to, it sounds really, like douchey to be like, oh yeah, it's the name people recognize me by, but it's a little bit maybe like bring in film and TV specifically in terms of like throughout trailers and promos and things like that. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of a wide gamut, but I've been delving, especially I want to say like probably this past year and a half in the film horror centric space. Right now I'm a composer in residence film center. I'm Canadian, so this makes, yeah, I make music for film commercials, that sort of, make a mean margarita. I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of who I am.
Love it. I love it. Yeah, I think it's good when you are being known in the industry. It's never such a bougie thing to be like, oh, this is what I do, this is what I'm great at. It's like, I think it's a good thing when we celebrate our successes and yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, 100%. Well, I think too, it's God, life is both too long to get steeped in anything ego, or you kind of have to roll with the punches. Also, feel like, I really enjoy being able to meet other creatives. So such as yourself, like it just fascinates me in general to be able to people, one creative to another and talk about what excites them, what makes them tick. So, I mean, because I know you're a filmmaker, so I just think that's really, really cool. And, I know this is about, it's like interviewing me specifically, which is amazing, but I'd love to hear also like what you're working. It's really cool.
Yeah. And we can definitely make it just a conversational,
Cool.
Just me and everyone tuning in is, there. So yeah, no, I'm down. We'll talk about all things film and music. And to start out, I know, so you said you're more recently in the film circles.
Yeah.
When you started, how did you, I'm going to give you like choose your own adventure, two different questions here. If you want to do like, how did you like start out doing what you're doing, whether that's music early on or breaking in and then breaking into like film, what drew you to film specific music first and then, yeah.
That's a great question. I mean, so I actually, I guess pretty early on in my life, I knew I wanted to be music in the film spaces specifically. I remember way back when in high school, part of like my grade 12 ISU, like independent study unit, I went to an arts high school. I was music, like I was a like piano major. But I remember for my project, you could do whatever you wanted within certain parameters. I chose 5 film clips. Like one was like, I think it was like Ratatouille. One was like The Notebook, The Godfather, like 5 film clips that I chose, like 5 minutes each, and then scored them. And at the time I was using like really older computer-wise, like Uendo Steinberg kind of. I'm a Logic user now primarily in like Pro Tools and stuff, but I remember like kind of this rinky dink, trying to put together these like really probably horrendous sounding, if I listen back now, little score. But all to say that the bug bit me on. And like, you know, I think even throughout my I was in a very musical household. I grew up music, and you know, I learned piano from a young age, and so, you know, all that kind of stuff. Um, so yeah, I mean, it wasn't a straightforward trajectory necessarily. Like, I went a little over here, went a little over there. While I was doing my master's at Belmont University, which is in Nashville, Tennessee, which was fabulous. I started getting really involved in doing music specifically, like for and in shows and promos and that sort of thing. Um, and uh, and then I did a brief stint. I was at NYU film score, like Steinhardt School of Music, which was great too. And then I just started realizing like, I'm riding two horses at once, school and then working in the industry, and I had to choose one horse, like a splits, right? So ouch. And so yeah, I ended up leaving school and just like working full time. And then the ball kept turning, and I was so happy past, like, I guess, yeah, half that, for whatever reason, stuff that I was doing in those film TV spaces started more and more into a score sense. And when the Canadian Film Center hired me as a composer in residence, I was like, this is amazing, because it really affords me to explore who am I in the film space, and what um yeah, just like my voice in general. So yeah, it's kind of a long ass answer to your question. But I feel like it feels really natural to me to be operating in the film score space, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I love that. And then the natural progression of
Yeah.
that. When you're talking about starting out with different technology, or like earlier technology, what do you have to say to people who sometimes there's like those barriers in making the art that they want to make, whether it's not up to the standard that they're hoping for, or like they're like, oh, I'm not going to put it out there until it's perfect, or something like that? What do you have to say about that?
It's tough. It's definitely tough. I mean, I'm a perfectionist, so that resonates. I empathize with that. I think, you know, if we're our own worst or harshest judges, you know, to ourselves, which I find a lot of the time creative, then the good news is that it is good news. You're never really going to be fully satisfied with something ever. Just point blank understanding that. So that's the good news, because it means you'll have to be able to release at some point. You know that you may be 100% with it because it's evolving, and so that's I think natural. Ultimately, you kind of do have to let go and not be just either. That's something that you know, the more music you make, respective to clients, you know, whether it be a director, whether it be trailer house or whoever, that idea of being precious with something, you can't be too precious. You can care a lot, I think, of everything that you do, and you want it to be quality, but at the end of the day, the bird has to leave its nest at some point. You know, tweet to all the other. I'm sorry for my metaphors. This will come. But yeah, I think precious is a valuable lesson.
No, I like that. It reminds me of I'm not sure where the quote is from, but I heard it where art is never finished, it's simply abandoned. It's like the ability to let go and let someone receive the art, even if it's not perfect, because it's never, there's always tweaks that can be made.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I feel like too, that's why my feelings towards like things like deadlines, and like if something is due, it's a hate love thing, but the love element, because that's the harsh cutoff. So whether you're not satisfied with something, you kind of just have to get it out of the door, you know, and into the ears of the.
Yeah, amazing. I have questions here. So just to give everyone a rundown who's listening, I have questions for Alex, but I also have questions from you guys. And if you want to ask more questions, there's a Q&A box. You can use the comments. You can use the Q&A box to drop in your questions because we'd love to answer them and talk all things music and film. So I love how natural it was for you to be doing what you're doing. And it seems really in alignment with who you are and what you love, which I love. Along that journey, what were some of your inspirations? You know.
Thanks. I appreciate that, by the way. Thank you. That's really nice. Yeah, well, inspirations, I think. So I'm a big score soundtrack listener. So I listen to a lot of content. And whether it's like The Secret Garden, or, you know, currently Minari, I feel like listening to, you know, one of current and films and series actually too. I'm big on series right now, like Isabel Roar, and you know, just like relevant contemporary series and things. I think lends itself, uh, it inevits itself to whatever I'm creating because it's whatever I'm consuming, and it's the same actually for other things like. I like to read, so you know, I finished Gucci's book. I love the Dooch, by the way, he's amazing. So I just finished his latest book, and you know, it's like peppered in for anyone who's like not familiar. It's to do with like cooking, and he's like does, and it's just amazing. So, but I was sort of like in European kind of joie de vivre, like I don't know, like nuanced thing. It no doubt lent itself, you know, in whatever I was creating at the moment. Yeah, I think in terms of inspiration, I did classical piano growing up, like I the Royal Conservatory of Music grades. So definitely a classical music presence underlying the foundation for what I do, even just from a like a structural, like compositionally. So it doesn't even matter if I'm composing that's way more contemporary, like songwriting a pop song. Like no matter what it is, I think I approach the harmonic and melodic music. I'm definitely thinking about it more analytical, like from a music theory kind of standpoint, which is super annoying. It's really that's um, but yeah. So yeah, I take inspiration wherever I can get it, and I believe in being a human sponge. I think that's an important thing to.
I like that, and I think that's good for other people too, because sometimes people don't know where to look for inspiration. Like you have to go out and seek it, but sometimes it's just whatever is around you, whoever is around you, whatever, whether that's stories or people or music or written word or just interactions or being in nature. Like inspiration can be found anywhere. And when you're that sponge, it's just like you just take it all in.
Exactly. Yep. Exact.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. Were there people that inspired you too, or mainly just the things that you soak up around you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so I'm a hardcore fan of Morricone, like the classic like cinema, or Con Anagio Monanita, which is like an older film of his. Sort of like it's like vintage kind of music. Really love that weird like weird ass like accordion stuff peppered throughout. I just think it's so cool. And yeah, I mean, I think like Philip Glass, like the minimalism definitely impacted, uh, you know, the kinds of music that I'm drawn to naturally. And then also I, you know, listened to a lot of alternative artists as well. You know, like honestly, you know, Green Day, you know, or like Bed. I think I believe, especially nowadays, song and score, like a cue and a song, more and more, and the people creating them have a lot of over. And it's the people with rich backgrounds and context that offer, I think, something different anyway in the score.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think as far as people go, and then my parents, you know, like my dad, well, I don't know if it's obvious, but like my dad is a musician. He's retired now, but so, you know, up that's when I say musical household. He had a home studio, so you know we were kind of around people, house, like creative types, and then you know, I mean, my mom's a lawyer, but she was very supportive, and she had her like piano from her youth and stuff. So I guess also, you know, my sisters actually, I have two sisters, and we all, you know, only a source of inspiration. Well, I feel like if they were watching, they'd. But it's true.
I saw at least one watching. I saw "That's my sister" comment. So even the support surrounding you, it's beautiful to watch. Yeah, when you mentioned the context and contrast of some of those composers, when is there story involved with film? There's story, maybe you're scoring to a story. Is there a process there for you of either adding story that isn't there or adding like the feeling or evoking when you're working with film?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think so. I'm not sure about adding to a story. I think it's an interesting dichotomy when you have a narrative that is more obvious, like the literal narrative of the story, and then maybe finding anything like the figurative or the almost hidden kind of part of the narrative, like the unrevealed yet to elements. So when I'm creating music for anything, I think it's about trying to find that balance between the two and highlight, illuminate, and bring out nuances. You know, if there's characters, it's like bring out the new characters, or if you're scoring a setting, you know, like right now I'm working on something that takes place in a vineyard. So it's like the different characters are interacting all in the same location geographically, but you know, if you were to analyze it and zoom out, you can almost go, I wonder what the sounds of this world, you know, it's not necessarily just about, you know, this is Joe and this is, you know, Jim, this is their theme. You can do that, but it's sometimes it's interesting to try to score something else, maybe that brings those characters together, them. Why are they connected? Why are they in the together? So yeah, I'm creating music for, even if it's in a like creating a song for something. I think understanding contextually what's happening is really important, and freedom to play, but it's like what space are we creating in, you know, and not being too self-indulgent, because that's for me sometimes that can be hard too. If I want to have like swells, you know, music somewhere, like, no, call for that.
Right.
So, yeah, but question. I think I'm still learning, you know, my approach all the time, to be honest. So yeah.
I think that's important in any art, to constantly be learning and constantly adapting, because as soon as you're set in one way, or like one way that you do things, how creative can you be, or how can something new come out of it?
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
yeah, and something that you mentioned, and I'm not sure your thoughts on this because I've heard it kind of both ways.
Mhm.
Are soundtracks, when you're composing for film, is it meant to not be noticed? Because it's sort of background. It's kind of like you feel it without even realizing it's there sometimes, right?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, it's funny because I was talking about this the other day, about theater, like, and how, you know, if you go to a show and and just say there's really cool lighting going on in the show. It's elevating the characters on stage, it's elevating everything. But really, if you're just, wow, the scene is so cool, or you're like completely brought into the scene and you're not thinking necessarily particulars of the itself, the lighting's doing its job. So I feel like in the score world and soundtrack world, like more songs, yes, actually, often, as much as it's hard maybe for the creator of said music, yeah, if the audience leaves and just leaves going, wow, that was amazing, like Harry Potter, I love Harry Potter, that was such a cool journey, and maybe they're gonna go, wow, this is so and reflective and contemplative, but maybe not. I go, wow, Harry, man, I really cried. That was so emotional, and like that's it. And maybe, you know, it's because there were all these other elements going into it to, you know, to manifest this emotional reaction. So yeah, I think if the music's doing its job, ideally it will be commented on because it's done a good job. But realistically, usually not. And actually, I think people sometimes only comment on the music for something if it's like distracting, you know, or it's like good job, and then people are like the music was really bad, you know, and that's when they, you know, that's how the music is talked about at all. So yeah, you know, hopefully that'll maybe change. They'll go, wow, amazing, and it really did its job. So, you know, here's hoping, I guess.
Yeah, that's so cool. And it's a good look at the behind the scenes of it too, of what I think with all filmmaking, when there's so many parts that go together to make the film. It's one of the few crafts that is very collaborative in that sense, where all of the pieces and all of the players are doing their part, and like it's so many go unnoticed behind the scenes in that regard too.
Yeah, I think that's part of being on the music side of things in like soundtrack score world, like being okay with the fact that, you know, it's not that's what I meant before about like you can't, like it's like ego or whatever territory. It's like, yeah, like do a really good job, and it's about the story that's being, you know, at the end of the day, that's the beautiful thing. It's like everybody coming together, sharing uh, the fruition of a vision. So yeah, that's what it's about for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's great when people then take that and then do it for the love of it. Or it's not something for the glamour and the fame. It's like, I love this. I love making this art, and I'm going to do it and go after that dream.
Exactly. 100. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Are there certain types of projects that you either seek out or prefer working on, whether that's styles of film or like a certain theme or emotion or type of project you like pouring your heart into?
Yeah, I think I'm really drawn. I mean, yeah, I haven't really met a genre I didn't like. I've worked in more like horror and like more drama spaces. Really, I'd love to explore more of psychological thriller, and even just psychological drama and docs as well. I think documentaries would be really, really cool to explore. I use this, like literally in score that I create, like in terms of adding layers and textures. Not necessarily lyrical, but just like more added oomph. So I often think, yeah, I always think like in a documentary space that might serve like as a cool way of providing score to something, telling this nonfiction, you know, story. So I thought like that could be really cool to experiment with and try. But yeah, and I think in series in general, like I love that series or such a thing, like where you have like 5 or 6 episodes and it's like all encompassing, and and it's like just as fulfilling, if not more fulfilling than a film.
Yeah.
Strong. I just love it. Like from Sharp Objects to right now I'm watching Serpent with and Tom Hiddleston, and like no matter what it is, you know, more of the drama, I can't get enough. So yeah, I guess those are the spaces I'd be interested in continuing to explore more of.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, the mini series as a concept, I'm
Yeah.
in love with, and even so I'm a documentary filmmaker. Those are the types of films that I've made. But when I minored in film school, so I got to dip my toe in other things. I've written things. I'm like, oh, this would make a great like the mini series. I'm very like it's so cool because it's in between where maybe you know, it's not a movie, it's not like a full TV show. And also sometimes I feel TV shows will jump the shark and it's like it goes on forever when it's contained like that. It's a it's a beautiful medium of story.
Leaves you wanting more almost, right? Which is what you, I think that's the desire,
Yeah.
right? If something goes on too long, we're at like season 7 or 8 of something dragging, then you lose some of the audience, and it feels sort of lackluster and almost like out with the fizzle. Now, so
Yeah.
definitely, miniseries is like leaves you going, oh, I really wish there was something else I could watch. Too bad, and that's good because it leaves you still like ultimately you're like that was such a good series. Yeah,
And I think
definitely.
that's a something that art leads you leaves you with. Like the films that end where you're like maybe not all of the plots are closed and you're just like you're still attached. It's that lingering where you're still attached, and I feel like you feel that in even the score that's in the credits too, of like it's leading out and you're still like lingering there feeling.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. I think actually, I think it was Sharp in terms of lingering at the credits when you're still like, oh, I think at the end of the series, I'm not sure if you've seen it. If you haven't,
I
highly
have.
recommend.
So
Right?
good recommendation. Good recommendation. Don't spoil, please. But continue.
All I'll say is that stick around when the credits roll,
Okay.
because it's cool. It's a cool thing that they do in the series. So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's funny. Like, I'm not sure exactly when this shift happens, like in terms of or the shift, but it was like a gradual sort of two miniseries land. But over the past like I don't know, has it been like the past 5 years, 4 to 5 years, really become a thing? It was like Game of Thrones, I guess, you know, 7 years ago. But now and I like I get probably more excited for miniseries than I do for you know. It's
Yeah.
weird.
I think other people do for there's so many reasons too. Even the level of commitment when there's a show that has like 14 seasons and it's still going. Sometimes it's like, okay, do I want to commit to that long of time too? Um,
Sure.
yeah, something I was just thought about is the with credits and scoring credits, is that
Mhm.
something that is separate from like
The
is
actual
continuation like those are the tracks from earlier or is credits composed as well?
yeah, I think honestly, I think it depends on the project. Like, yeah, because so like I did when I did Deja Vu, which is a song used in the PlayStation video game Deathloop. It's like the end credits song, and it's separate from the video game score. So in that case, yeah, like I think it probably differentiates based on the type of project or even just the project itself. But like some of the films I've been scoring this past year, like if I have a short and I'm scoring it all the way, scoring the credits.
Mm.
And I try and provide cohesion, you know, between you know, and then everything else that was going on. Whether it be I'm taking actual thematic that was utilized throughout the score and putting it in the or if I'm maybe taking the same or sonic palette that was used and using that and creating something. So it just depends, I think, on yeah the project at hand, most likely.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Because I was thinking about there's this new rise. Definitely, we're talking about timeliness of things that have shifted or genres that are more popular in terms of series. With Marvel, people now stay for the credits.
Oh
When
yeah,
before it was maybe only the filmmakers, or not everybody did that. And
that's true.
is that become more of a, does that change anything in terms of composing where it's like there's more emphasis on the credits, or is it just great that people are hearing the music?
That's a good question. I think with the Marvel world, I mean, absolutely, I could see like fans of Marvel, of course, I see them wanting to stick around. Also, like, Marvel sound. Full disclosure, I don't really watch too many. I
Oh,
listen to the facts. Um, ain't it the way? Um, so yeah, I feel like, yeah, like motivically, the end credits would have monumental moments, right? That the audience sticks around to hear. So I think too, like, I don't know, I always want to hear the music. So I look down during credits for anything, just so I can hear what they're doing. I think in what movie was it? It was like a couple years ago when Bombshell came with Charlize Theron. It was like the Fox News thing. Gina Spector did like this special song credits, and I remember it being like, I love that too, when the end credits it'll be something unexpected, and it's or some first expectation sort of way, because it was like very serious film, and then Regina Spektor, which is great, it was like I don't expect that at all. So yeah, around to hear the end credits. With Marvel, yeah, surprising. I feel like it's all the big themes are gonna be brought back at the end for sure.
yeah, with every little swell and like epic moment felt.
Dynamics for sure.
Awesome. So I have many questions here that people have submitted, which we're going to dive into. And for those listening, if you have more questions, drop them in the comments, drop them in the Q&A box. So the first question is, how is your approach to composing for film different than video games?
I mean, I think I've been exploring the space like the past like year and a half, like with the Canadian Film Center residency, like in terms of the shorts that I've been exploring, I think. And I remember that question that was asked. That was asked on my story yesterday. I think no matter what it is, approaching it where you're trying to uncover the story, both literally, like the obvious, and then bringing out nuances that. And once you've uncovered that, I think it helps reveal. And I think too, I have I like word vomit almost like with music. Like whenever I'm creating anything, I just try and get out as many ideas. So for me, it's always the honing and the stripping away um, that is most revealing. And I think that the truest music little tidbits, motives actually come to light. But I think it is important to have like a dump, on the project itself, just so you can get everything out and then kind of, weed away all the not so nice stuff. But yeah, I think really understanding, there are characters in the project, in the story. Who are they? Scoring, and that's been my learning process. Just over the past year and a half, and when I think about stuff that I've done, in terms of the kind of like trailery or like in show, I'm always with a story in mind. I think that really helps. Like creative spark too, because otherwise it can feel kind of aimless. And there's nothing worse in this world than feeling aimless.
Yeah, um, there because we've done so many metaphors today, I thought of another one. And these are, the next two are ones that I use frequently. But in terms of the creative process, you were talking about the brain dump.
Yeah.
And that's great in any subsection of the filmmaking world. Because even in writing, the metaphor is you have to, if you're going to build a sandcastle, the first step is to like just dump a bunch of sand so you have something to work with. Just fill the sandbox with sand. And first drafts don't have to, in music or in writing or in anything, they don't have to be perfect. They just have to be. Something has to be there for you to turn it into something.
Oh yeah, I love that. That's actually so true. I want to go make sand castles. Yeah, no, definitely. I think, yeah. Well, I don't know. It's funny. Like my experience. Like a lot of my friends were also harsh themselves, right? So yeah, it's important to kind of remember, no matter what, actually, like whatever you turn out, the first time or whatever you're gonna create in that moment for the first time, you're kind of running the water. You know, when you like, if you turn on the, sorry, so many metaphors today.
Go for it. Go for it.
So when you turn on the water faucet and it's kind of brownish, and then eventually it runs clear, right? So I think it's that mentality almost, and being okay with it, right? Like, because honestly, if we're the harshest judges of ourselves, that can be interesting, right? And what I said earlier, like about being precious with things, like I think if you're able to kind of get as much out as possible, just so you have a starting point, then you alleviate a little bit down the line, which can help, I think, ultimately, like mental health wise. You know, if you already have the deadline, then at least you're working with, at least you have the clay or the sand, whatever, to use to sculpt. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah. One more metaphor, if I may. You said the other one is about like sculpting the ice sculptures. And one time somebody came and asked to, this is like a little bit, but it's like somebody came and asked the art sculptor, how did you do it? How did you build this masterpiece? And it's like, it was just a chunk of ice. Like, how did you like get it to be this swan? And he was like, it's very simple. I just chiseled away everything that wasn't a swan.
Yeah. Yeah. I love
Yeah.
that. Shit, that's really good. That's
Yeah.
so true. Yeah.
And when you have, like, sorry, there was like an audio glitch there, but yeah, when it's like something so massive and like, how did you get it into something beautiful? It's like, it starts as just like a block of stuff, and like the artist like can, if you have the vision of what it's going to be, you can turn it into that.
Yeah, I love that so much. I'm gonna start, I would log that away, because that's true. Everything that wasn't a swan, I feel like that's like so true to form. With music too, it's like anything that wasn't the theme kind of stripped it away. Or from a, you know, like a filmmaking standpoint, in terms of anything that wasn't a part of that story, you know, that's so, I love that. I mean, I think being able to like have the zoom out mentality, like being able to do POV on yourself sometimes, at least on my too, because I get like tunnel vision sometimes, where you're like working on something and it's your world, you know, and then you're like, you know, it's the vicious cycle. I think being able to kind of breathe yourself up a little bit, zoom out, look down, you know, at yourself in that moment and the project itself, can help lend perspective, assuage a little bit, uh, you know, pressure, anxiety, the burden of it all, like whatever, you know. And yeah, I think it all kind of goes into that creative pool.
Yeah. And that burden and pressure and anxiety, do you have anything to say to when people get, I don't want to use the wrong word, but like you can easily get overwhelmed by it, and it's in every creative field, just the mental health side of being a creative or being someone who's making art or going after a venture in any form. It can be a lot.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think Well, so like I got a therapist the past year, which has been amazing. And taking on mental health. Yeah, I think honestly having you love and trust can really help. And I'm talking like look at how many friends I have. Like this is not the case for me at all. It's more like a couple people, close friends, family, that you could do. And that at the end of the day, they love you no matter what, right? The unconditional element. For my mental health, that's been really good too, because I think, and I still do this all the time. So I can't be like, preaching like I'm a successful voyeur, but I'm trying. The validation thing from all things tangible, or grades, or what is success, right? That yardstick that we use to measure it. Right. I'm so caught up in that, or I have the ability to get caught up in the comparison game, and it's true, thief of joy. So, and I think like if you're able to strip, like try and the external stuff, and just who are you, and where do you find peace, and I would say joy, but really it's where do you find presence. Like I don't even strive, it's not like, oh, I strive to be happy, like this. I don't mean it to sound like dark. It's more like I strive to be present, because happiness is actually, that's a huge thing to try and attain. Maybe over a lifetime, we can really understand the breadth of it. But for now, I think, my, keeps my anxiety at bay a little. Just understanding that it's only life, so we're best. And that's how we realize our potential. And we're all valid, like whether or not I create amazing masterpiece work of art, or I wake up and I go back to sleep for another half an hour, like it's okay. That's fine. And being fine with that, that's been my journey. But I continue on it, and I think that is part of the key, maybe. So my therapist says. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that, and I think it's important for everybody to know, whether or not you're a creative, just like you're a person on a journey. And a lot of times in the entertainment industry and in the creative fields, it's really easy to idolize people who are further along the journey. And they're not even further along the journey, they're just like on their journey, on a different path, a different point in their path. But we're all going after our dreams, and we all have very similar like ups and downs, and it's easy to feel like you're alone in that, because look at Instagram and look at the internet, it's like, oh, here are all the highlights, here are all the good parts, but like everybody has the low points and the parts that like they don't tell people about. And that's important to know, to let people know they're not alone on that, so we can keep on going after those dreams.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree. I think too, like curation station. So like life has kind of become, with social media, I think the idea of curating has to be the forefront. And social media, it can be great and connected, like we're doing this over social media, beautiful thing. But also I think, unfortunately, there is this huge side of social media. It feeds directly into the comparison of yourself with other people. And it's sometimes tough, because I think, at least when I compare myself to other people, because I do definitely, I try and remind myself also, don't compare your chapter 1 or 2 with someone else's chapter 30, right? And element to remember, because there's also just a component of time and experience, and respecting those that have X amount of time, and they have X amount of experience. So I think has their own journey. Like ultimately, if you're doing something you love to do, more or less, like every day you're like, what a joy, yes, But if you're like on a path that you're encouraged by overall, and that you it's your truth overall, then I think that is success. You know, like that is being successful, because there are so many people. I have to remind myself of this too sometimes. Whenever I'm feeling like really bad for myself, I'm like, oh my God, my my computer is really slow today. Oh, you you know, reminding myself, oh my God, like how lucky am I that I get to be in a studio right now and I get to do this, you know, and this is my job. Very lucky. There's so many people who are able to pursue fully their passions because they also have extenuating circumstances, or, you know, whether it be financial, you know, where they are in their life. So I really try and remind myself of that too, because ultimately, even though it can be, you know, challenging sometimes, at the end of the day, I still get to do what I love. So, you know, I appreciate that. I'm lucky for sure.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. It's gratitude in the simplest of things, you know, like the examples in my head are like getting a coffee if something's inconvenient, if you spill something, it's like, wow, I got to, like, I have the ability to go and buy my favorite coffee. Like, I think the mindfulness in that, in the gratitude of that, keeps you present. And as you were saying, like, it's not seeking the happiness, it's like, wow, I'm present and on this journey and enjoying the chapter 1 and the chapter 2, you know, and the chapter 3, and like every bit. It's not like I will be happy when I get to chapter 50, you know, or like not until the 3rd sequel. It's like, okay, I'm here, and I'm
I like
more.
to do. It's like remembering, not actually like trying to live in the future, you know, like it's living in the now, which ultimately carves the future. But I like that too. Yeah, it's like, oh, then, well, what's it gonna be? No, like, this isn't a dress rehearsal. This is happening right now. So yeah, yeah, absolutely. I actually, yeah, this morning I got a coffee and I was like, yeah, like things, you know, because it puts a little pep in your step.
Yeah, this morning I made a coffee and I didn't do a good job. And so, but enjoying the journey.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, it's important. I mean, I'll just figure it out. I think at the end of the day, like, no one's has it fully cracked, you know, like cracked the, I mean, like, I think, no matter who you are, I think you always have, you know, your challenges, but if you're able to have, you know, close people that you trust too, everything helps, ease some of that burden.
Yeah, awesome. So we're winding up on the hour here, and even though we had some technical difficulties at the beginning, I think this is a fantastic conversation. I'm really enjoying chatting with you.
Morgan, me too. Absolutely. Yeah, I had a great time. I can't believe it's already been an hour.
I know it went so fast. If you want, there's one more question here that kind of pertains to the mental health journey of being a creative. Do you have a favorite way of unwinding after a day of writing or composing?
The charcuterie board. Yeah, I like to go for I go for walks. Actually, you know, at the end of a long work day, especially, can help. I think, especially during like the pandemic, where like there's no commute. You know, like you're not like going from one point. That is how you unwind, decompress. So I do think, you know, if you stop working and then just try and switch into something else, you should allow maybe a little bit of cushion to just like get it all out, you know, that energy, or the stresses or whatever. So you go for a walk, you know, yeah, make a charcuterie board or something, cheese and meat, or I don't know, just something like super bougie and relaxed. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. My I'm not sure if it constitutes as like bougie and relaxed, but I went to the store and bought flowers to make my own bouquet.
Oh, I love that.
The art of like messing up and cutting and like making it and just like trying to make something, but it's like it doesn't matter and it's just for me. And even like going to the store, getting air, and it's like it's like a lovely other thing to do.
100%. I freaking love that. Actually, yeah. I like the grocery store, sometimes just to peruse the aisles. Like you don't really need anything, but you just kind of, we're like, Ritz crackers, that could be nice,
On a mission for snacks.
I mean, yeah, I think like we said earlier, like it's the little thing. Taking presence, being present in them can really help. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Alex, thank you so much for being here. For everyone who's listening or watching on the replay, make sure you go follow Alex and the work she's doing. And I'm excited to stay connected with you, and everything you're up to and the journey and all of the little things along the way.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Morgan and Women in Film Project. Sincerely awesome chats. I can't believe the hours, like, ain't it the way? They always whiz right by. Yeah, and I'd love to also, I know we didn't really get a chance to talk. I'd like to hear more about what you're up to as well, Morgan. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
maybe we'll do another one of these or connect offline, or we'll do it on my page. But yeah, I'd love that.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. Amazing. Cool. Well, quick technical request, if I may, because of the technical difficulty, I think this will save to your page. So I'm wondering when we end it, if you save your phone or something and try to send it to me, we'll figure that out. But
yeah, for sure. Yeah. So when it logs out, I'll just send it to you. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, that's all.
You got it. You got it.
Woo.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Cool.
Well, take care. I hope you have a fabulous weekend, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you. All right.
Alex. Bye.